All right, so I was in New York last weekend visiting my brother for his 40th birthday. Happy birthday if you ever watch. Stick with me here. I promise this will get good and be worth it, all right? So we had come home after a couple drinks one night. We were looking for something to do. We started playing some video games, NBA 2K, and he beat me every game. I rarely play video games, but I started to realize as we were selecting our teams and players and whatnot, that every player has a given number of attributes that they're scored on 0 to 100. Like at a high level, just your offense and your defense, and then it breaks down a little bit further than that, even into like shooting and rebounding and passing and dribbling. And then even below that, it drills down into like, when you get to shooting, it's like 3-point shooting and free throw shooting and dunking. So I realized like, what if we started to assign scores to us as attributes as professionals? What would that look like? And so I haven't given a ton of thought to this, so I'm sure that I'm gonna miss a couple things, but I started to think of the high level. What are the high level attributes that we'd have? Kind of like offense and defense at like a really, really broad level. And I think a couple of these would be as follows. First of all, I think like vision and leadership, so like creating a vision and getting people behind that vision and bought into that vision, I think is one really high level skill or attribute. I think the ability to just have intelligence, right? Just be smart on like pretty much any topic, any given topic. Like you talk to intelligent people, you just know when they're intelligent. And you kind of either have that or you don't. I think there's domain expertise, which is kind of like a learned intelligence towards a very specific skill. So like, lawyers are like a really specific type of skill. Some people are really good at like semiconductors or global warming, right? Like these are like, people just have domain expertise. It's not just a general intelligence that it takes to get there. I think having a motor and just like the ability to execute, I think is a really important high level skill that some people have and some people don't. And then we started to get into like kind of the mid level. So when you break down offense into like a whole bunch of different like passing and shooting and rebounding and those types of things, what would those look like in the professional world? And so I started to think about like the ability to sell, right? Some people it's like a skill that some people have and some people don't, but it's certainly a skill, like a mid-level skill. The ability to design and create things, the ability to copyright and write and edit, the ability to just build things, both physical and digital, the ability to organize and manage both projects and people, the ability to network, the ability to problem solve, the ability to just be good with numbers. I think these are some like mid-level skills. And again, I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch, but I just wanted to kind of break down. I think it's important to know that with these skills, we have some of these that we're like naturally good at, but we can also get better at just about every single one of these with enough trying them, learning about them, and investing our time and our resources into becoming better at these. And then we have like the on the ground skills. So if we take offense, we break that down, and shooting is one of those mid levels. Shooting even gets broken down into 3-point shooting and dunking and free throw shooting. And I think it's important that when we get to this level that we really try and become great at one specific thing. We talked about lawyers earlier, right? The general practitioner lawyers don't make nearly as much as the ones who really specialize in something, whether it's class action or whether it's personal injury or divorce, right? When you really specialize in one thing, that's when you can be great. You look at like doctors, the ones who specialize in like plastic surgery and those kind of really niched high level skills are the ones that tend to become great. When we look back at basketball, I just start to think about like, you have Shaq, who's probably the greatest dunker of all time, probably also the worst free throw shooter of all time. You look at somebody like Steph Curry, who's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, rarely dunks, right? And so they've just niched down into different areas, and both those will be greatest 10 basketball players to ever play the game, yet they have just one really, they have a lot more than just one skill they're great at, but there is one skill that they are known for, and that's kind of that on the ground type of stuff. And so when we get to the high level, it's about having an awareness of what high level attributes you really possess. I think myself, if we look at those ones that I mentioned, I think my motor and ability to execute are higher than just about anything else on that list. I think my leadership and vision is probably above average. I think my intelligence is probably about average, and I think my domain expertise may be below average, right? I think I'm good at a lot of things, but not really great at any one specific thing. And so when I start to look at projects, I look at things that my motor and ability to execute are going to really be the biggest contributing factor to what I'm able to give to a team or to a project. And I try and surround myself with people who may be smarter, have greater domain expertise, or I'll look at those domains that I probably am a little bit more advanced than others, right? Like maybe e-commerce or coaching. These are some things that I tend to be pretty strong at. And so I'll look at opportunities that my motor and maybe the domain expertise that I have can make me great. We get to that mid-level, I have an awareness of some of those mid-level skills that I think I'm strong at. I think I have a strong ability to sell. I think I have a strong ability to manage and organize people and projects. I think I have a strong understanding of problem solving and working with numbers. But some of those other ones like copywriting, design and creating, building things, those are just not things that I'm great at. But you'll notice over the last year, I've really invested into writing a lot more. I've invested into creating and designing a lot more things. I'm really trying to challenge myself through educating myself, investing into other experts, and trying to learn as much as I can, and then just trying and being willing to fail to get better at those skills. And so if the high level skills we're kind of either born with or we're not. We're kind of born visionaries or we're not, right? We're either born with a motor or we're not. Those mid levels we can really start to learn. And then when we get down to the ground, like I said, it's really about trying to find, when we deal with e-commerce, being great at either like traffic generation or being great at operations and logistics or being great at kind of sales and conversion and lifetime value and customer acquisition. And so it's really about kind of trying to become great at specific things. And you can even niche down further, right? If you're great at social media, you can be great at all social media, or you can be specifically great at TikTok. And I think the more you can niche down and find specific skills, the more value you'll have and be able to really take advantage of that. And so start to think of you as a professional at kind of high level, mid level, and then on the ground. What are the attributes and skills that you really possess at a high level? And again, at the high level, really try and find those opportunities that will show off or showcase your skills, the things that you're greater at the top. In the mid level, try and understand where you're a little bit weak and make yourself a more well-rounded professional by increasing some of those skills. And then when we get down to the ground, really try and niche down. So hopefully taking video games on my brother's birthday into some sort of a lesson here was valuable for you. And I'd love to hear your feedback on things that you think you're great at, maybe skills or at a high level, mid level that you think I missed, or maybe somewhere that you're niching down and really finding a lot of success.